I quietly returned home on a flight, jet-lagged and slept like the dead. My oblivious younger brother invited friends over, and I overheard him half-seriously, half-jokingly ask someone, "You still haven't gotten over your ex-girlfriend? What's so great about her that you've been hung up on her for so many years?" Everything was great. Hearing that familiar voice suddenly, I nearly twisted my ankle. My brother, frustrated by my lack of progress in love, eagerly tried to set me up with new girlfriends. "Here, take a look at these. Whoever catches your eye, I'll call her over right." Wait, not this one. The next second, my phone buzzed with a message. "I want to see you." Me. The next morning, when my brother saw me, he let out a sharp, horrified scream. But that person just stood there frozen. Suddenly, their eyes turning slightly red. Later, my brother came to me in deep distress, complaining that the other party had an online romance with a white moonlight, who had since broken up. Beneath me, the man he reported had a vacant stare but stubbornly refused to let go of my hand. Panting heavily, "Touch me again, please." I averted my eyes guiltily. Well, is there a possibility that online romance but now broken up white moonlight might just be your dear sister? Me. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. The moment the plane landed, I connected to the internet and made a video call. The call was answered instantly. I was about to speak when I got interrupted. "Sweetie, guess where your dad and I are?" My mom held up her phone triumphantly on the other end, then turned the camera. Ta-da! Opposite was daytime, with the bustling airport entrance crowded with waiting travelers. The bright red TWA sign standing out prominently. "Your dad and I have come to M Country." Surprise. Didn't expect that. Did you? Indeed. It was quite unexpected. By the way, sweetie, you called because... My mother was momentarily speechless at the sight inside the cabin, sitting on the edge of the luggage carousel. I chuckled. So, we both wanted to surprise each other, but ended up missing out. My mother slapped her thigh. "We're truly mother and daughter, connected at the heart." "Well, you know, Iris is also my daughter," my father chimed in from the side. My mother nudged him. "They've always said mother and daughter are connected at heart. Never heard of father and daughter connected at heart." Humph. The couple bickered as usual, both in good spirits, since returning home wasn't an option anytime soon. My mother stretched and quickly made a decision. "Since we're already here, might as well stay and enjoy ourselves for a while before going back." Hearing that I would be developing my career domestically from now on, my mom was even happier and gave me a lot of instructions. That brat has been waiting eagerly for his parents to go to Country M. Now that he's finally free, who knows what mischief he'll get up to. Keep an eye on him and don't let him run wild. The brat she's referring to is my younger brother Marius. Even in school, he was sharp-minded. Before graduating, he and a few buddies started a gaming company, which has been thriving ever since. The downside is being extremely playful and disliking constraints, which gave my parents quite a few headaches. I assured them, "Don't worry, now that I'm back, the mischievous monkey won't dare cause any trouble." After ending the call, I took a taxi back to the villa to adjust to the time difference. Turning on the lights, the bright and tidy layout remained just as before. Marius is not at home. I can tell whether he's about to take a shit or just fart the moment he sticks his butt out. He must have gone out to have fun while his parents were away. I dragged my suitcase into the room, which was clean and tidy, clearly maintained regularly by someone. As soon as the door closed and the curtains were drawn, I collapsed onto the bed, the exhaustion from the journey overwhelming me. I could no longer hold on, closing my eyes with the intention of sleeping like the dead. I don't know how long I slept. I was awakened by a burst of noise. Checking my phone. It was exactly 7 in the evening. The loud music and chatter left no doubt. Marius must have taken advantage of our parents' absence to throw a party at home with his friends. I pulled back the curtains to see boys setting up a grill in the yard and splashing around in the pool. Pecs, abs, and board shorts. The sight of all those young, toned bodies had me staring. Ahem. I mean, not like that. I looked at the most conspicuous person in the crowd. Marius. He dyed his hair red, with a very flamboyant style. From my perspective, it looked like Neza emerging from a swimming pool. Neza shouted, "Today is Afon's bachelor party. Everyone, let loose and have a blast." Woohoo! The atmosphere reached its peak, with beer bottles raised overhead one after another. I shook my head, closed the curtains, and pulled out my headphones. Forget it. Let him off this once. Like hell I will. The waves of heavy metal music grew increasingly louder, pressing a pillow against my ears. I gritted my teeth while calculating Marius's and possible fates. Fortunately, this was a villa district, and the neighbors rarely came back. After a long time, the pool party finally ended, and a bunch of brats started crying while singing "Glory Days," with the melody wandering from one side of the mountain to the other. And they only sang this one song, "Will This Ever End?" By the time everyone had gradually left, my patience was nearly exhausted. Marius, you're done for. Storming downstairs in slippers with full fury, only to hear a conversation downstairs the moment the door was pushed open. Marius was clearly quite drunk, his words all jumbled. "Bro, you're my real bro. Just tell me this. Among us brothers, everyone's married. You, hick, you've been alone all these years. Still not over your ex who went abroad. Why is there still someone at home, in front of others?" I pay great attention to my image, unable to vent my anger. I felt as uncomfortable as if I had swallowed a fly. "I can't let go." The person's voice was calm, as if stating something utterly ordinary. "I can't let go." My brother raised his voice. "You're here being all sentimental. But who knows if that woman has already found someone else abroad, or even gotten married and had kids." The man didn't respond. After a long pause, he said coldly, "Impossible. She can't possibly get married." A very certain tone. I was startled deep down. This voice sounds so familiar. It can't be. My brother let out a drunken burp. "You think you know everything," he stubbornly insisted. "I just know. Drunk people have no logic." I quietly peeked up my head and saw the two of them leaning back against the sofa, with empty liquor bottles scattered all around their feet. The living room was a complete mess after the wild party. The next moment, Marius suddenly sat bolt upright. "No, I just don't get it. What's so great about her that my best friend can't forget her after all these years?" "Everything's great about her." The speaker's tone was very flat. "He handles alcohol well, even when drunk. He doesn't make a fuss and speaks slowly." I unconsciously tightened my grip on the stair railing. A cold sweat broke out instantly down my back. Damn, Ollie. My ex-boyfriend. Fuck. Glad I didn't rush downstairs to punch him just now. The phrase, "everything is fine," struck a nerve with Marius. Frustrated by his lack of progress, he slapped his phone on the table. "Let me tell you, you're not just unable to let go. You're holding on to this because she broke your heart. And now it's become an obsession." He scrolled through his contacts, forcing Ollie to take his phone. Here. The campus bell from F University. This one. Her recent drama blew up. And this one. We met on a cruise last time. The profile picture is her real self. Take the phone and see for yourself. Good. It seems that during my absence, my dear brother has been indulging himself quite a bit. My brother kept chattering away. Whoever you like. Just send a message and call them over. Hey. Not this one. He lunged to grab the phone. The next second, my phone screen lit up. The words, "Miss you," appeared for less than a second before being retracted. The person who sent the message is Marius. Me. Marius was so startled that his drunkenness vanished. You're really something. Picking the boss right off the bat. Do you even know who this is? This is my sister. Oh God. Good thing I withdrew that message fast. Boss. Marius. Still shaken. I know you like the older sister type. But you can't just lose your mind at the sight of the word sister. If she finds out, she'll definitely kill me. Marius, ah Marius. The broad road you refuse to take. Yet the gates of hell you willingly enter. I laughed in sheer exasperation. Ollie remained silent for a long while before standing up. I'm going to sleep. The tone was utterly disdainful. Generally speaking, this is his way of sulking. Marius no longer had the energy to randomly set him up with new people and just reminded him, there are new toothbrushes and towels under the bathroom sink. We have to be groomsmen for Ah Fong tomorrow. So don't sleep too soundly. All right. By the way, the innermost room on the second floor is my sister's. Don't pick that one. Any other is fine. Ollie paused mid-step without turning back. The sound of water running. I retreated to my room and gently closed the door. Then, I rolled around on the bed, recalling how I met Ollie, punching the pillow, crawling in the shadows. At the beginning of senior year, my roommate Mandy got cheated on by a scumbag. Not only did the scumbag bind as a couple with the other woman in the game, but she also deliberately video called to provoke Mandy after checking into a hotel. Sis. He likes it wild in bed. After hearing Mandy's tearful account, the three roommates clenched their fists, burning with anger, and unanimously decided to teach that despicable couple a lesson. I've played that game too. I spent 2 days and nights downloading the update package, then another 3 hours putting on heavy makeup. Don't you like it wild? Don't you enjoy being all lovey-dovey in games? Isn't this simple enough? The eldest studied photography. The second is skilled at Photoshop. They dragged along 2 suitcases of clothes and took a ton of photos of me, holding pictures so heavily edited even my own mother wouldn't recognize me. I stayed up all night creating a new account. According to our plan, the first step is to become friends with the scumbag through the game. Add him. Then lure him into sending some explicit messages to expose his cheating behavior. Sell off his in-game items. And ideally, socially ruin him. Ha. None of us noticed Mandy's guilty look. I eagerly switched to the server where the scumbag was, bought the latest and coolest gear, and camped outside the dungeon entrance every day. Looking back now, we were probably just too idle back then. Where there's a will, there's a way. After I turned down the nth team invitation, the Playboy finally showed up. But he didn't bring anyone with him, just himself, riding a rare foal and dressed in a mismatched outfit. It wasn't exactly tacky, but let's just say it made my long-dormant rheumatism flare up again. I curled my lips into a confident smile and sent him a team invitation. Green Spirit. Hello there. Handsome, wanna team up? No one would refuse at all. Long-legged, silver-haired beauty with maxed out special effects, decked in exclusive legendary orange tier outfits, and a face sculpted to perfection. No one Would. The jerk very coldly rejected my invitation. Ollie. No need, Ollie. I can fight alone. My smile instantly disappeared. Damn it. You don't know what's good. Mandy timidly raised her hand. Maybe we should just forget it. Being rejected isn't scary. What's scary is having your roommates watching from the sidelines, making the humiliation even worse. Great. He's challenging me. I took a deep breath and directly clicked to trade with the other party. Green Spirit. 10,000 gold per game. Play or not? Speak. 10,000 gold isn't a small amount, especially since I've already covered several rounds for him. No matter. I'll make him pay it back with interest later. After a long silence, the other party agreed to my trade and team-up request. Ollie. Follow me. Following him into the dungeon. I scoffed. Quite the show-off. At the evening dormitory debriefing session, I made the following statement. The two had just broken up, and rashly adding him as a friend with a beautiful woman's photo would only make the scumbag suspicious. I boasted with my head held high. When pursuing a man, you must make him understand that beauty and money are the least of your virtues worth bragging about. The eldest and second brothers gave a thumbs up. Impressive. Impressive. I waved my hand. Stay humble. Stay humble. Completely forgot that I'm also a lifelong single. Mandy hesitated to speak. The playboy moved with such slick dodges during monster fights. His skills were unexpectedly good. I had even recorded the screen, planning to mock his poor skills on forums later. Never expected it to be such an evenly matched and well-coordinated battle. It instantly ignited my competitive spirit, and I couldn't help but get serious too. After figuring out his online patterns, I started ambushing him every few days, initiating trades the moment we met, then teaming up to grind monsters. That day, as he exited the dungeon, he casually remarked, "Not bad." I casually bit into the popsicle handed to me by the boss while typing, putting on a cold expression. "Thanks, big bro moi." Then I sent a sigh emoji and mocked myself. Too bad everyone in our guild has quit. After coming back, I had nowhere to go, so I had to transfer servers and leave that sad place behind. Now I just find people to run dungeons with or wander around taking screenshots of the scenery. Boo-hoo. He's always been a man of few words, and the chat box is mostly filled with my messages. Ollie replied with an MHM. Incredibly aloof. If it's not pretending to be aloof, then it's genuinely aloof. However, he wouldn't let my words fall flat either, responding to every single one. What does this prove? It proves there's potential. I doubled down, continuing to play the pity card. Green Spirit, thank you for running the dungeon with me. Green Spirit, how about we add each other as friends? If you're free tomorrow, I'll trade with you again. When dealing with men, you need to demonstrate competence while also showing appropriate vulnerability, and take the initiative when necessary. They say it takes 21 days to form a habit. 21 days. Which means 210,000 gold. Sister can still afford to pay it back. Beside them, Mandy finally mustered the courage and said, "Actually, he's not." A new message popped up. Ollie. Okay. The jerk added me as a friend on his own and even invited me to join their guild. Ollie, we can play together from now on. I blinked my eyes. It didn't even take 21 days, and he's already inviting me to join the guild. Damn. He really is a scumbag. The past played out like a slideshow in my mind all night long. When I woke up, I stared at the ceiling for a long time before remembering. Oh, I'm already back in my home country. The room was so quiet I could even hear the second hand ticking. I scratched my somewhat messy hair, planning to have breakfast before heading to the branch office to handle the transfer matters. I went downstairs like a thief with a guilty conscience, relieved to find no one around, and my steps became noticeably lighter. But just as I reached the kitchen door, I nearly collided head-on with Marius. Marius was holding 2 plates, and when he saw me, his eyes widened instantly as if he'd seen a ghost. "Sis, when did you get back?" There was a sharp clatter of keys hitting the floor behind me. Me? I turned around and saw Ollie standing in the doorway, backlit by the light, still frozen with one foot inside. He stared at me blankly for a long moment before saying, "Sorry." I dropped the keys. His voice was a bit hoarse, and he staggered slightly as he walked over, stopping in front of me, as if meeting me for the first time. He smiled distantly. "Hello, sister. My name is Ollie, a friend of Marius." Only his eyes seemed to redden for a moment. I was driving a Mercedes. Both men were dressed in suits, tall and long-legged, making the back seat feel cramped. Marius bumped his head as soon as he got into the car. So Ollie was Marius banished to the passenger seat. The little voice in my head was screaming, "Ollie, why is he at my place? And how did he become Marius' partner? Wait. Hold on. So they've known each other all along." On the way, Marius flattered me. "Heh, good thing you're here. Otherwise we'd definitely be late. They drank too much last night and are still feeling dizzy this morning." "Sis, why did you suddenly come back?" Ollie remained silent the entire time, getting into the car and staring at the window on his side. Indeed. After all, it's an ex you haven't seen in years. Meeting would be awkward for anyone. I've been transferred back to the country. I focused on the road ahead, trying to keep my gaze from wandering toward Ollie. Then, "Not leaving anymore. Not leaving anymore," I answered instinctively, then realized the question was asked by Ollie. Marius gave him a puzzled look, but he was carefree, quickly getting distracted by a phone call. "Hey, we're almost there. Don't rush. Just 2 more traffic lights." Got it. Got it. How could I forget this thing? Marius was chatting animatedly on the phone, yet the atmosphere inside the car remained awkward. Fortunately, the distance wasn't far, and shortly after he hung up the phone, I safely delivered them to the groom's house. Marius was the first to jump out of the car, going to the trunk to get things, and then busied himself introducing me to the groom. My sister, just returned from abroad, used to work in finance on Wall Street. A real beauty. Although he was complimenting me, his own tail was practically wagging with pride. The groom extended his hand. "Hello, sister. I've heard Marius talk so much about having an incredibly amazing sister. Finally meeting you in person." Upon learning I still had matters to attend to, the groom warmly insisted that I must join them for dinner in the evening. Ollie closed the car door without looking at me. Only those words spoken before getting out of the car, "Long time no see," were so faint they might have been an illusion. I had already finished the transfer procedures by the afternoon. Ms. Iris, the HR manager, was still surprised to see me. "Won't you take some more time off?" I had met her a few times before, so we were somewhat familiar. I nodded. The manager gave a thumbs up. "You're truly a role model in the world of beasts. I definitely won't learn from you." I glared at her with a smile. "Where's my office?" 16th floor. "I'll take you there." She paused, then added, "Also, someone from Country M has been sent to assist you with your work. For at least 3 months. I halted my steps. Did they say who it is? No. Closing the door of the new office, I leaned back in the executive chair, lost in thought as I stared at the computer screen. I had originally resigned myself to the idea that I wouldn't return to China until retirement. But as they say, man proposes and God disposes. Opportunity came knocking unexpectedly. Due to an organizational restructuring at the China headquarters, a vice president position opened up. My direct supervisor approached me. "Iris, you should give it a try." Thanks to my achievements over the past few years, I ultimately stood out in the fierce competition. The chair spun around, and I caught sight of my reflection in the glass. Suddenly startled. The car window glass. It was closed at the time too. After a long pause, I burst into laughter, laughing until tears streamed down my face. I suddenly felt a strong urge to reinstall the game I had uninstalled long ago. Back then, Ollie invited me to join their guild. Apart from a few old accounts that had already quit, only 4 avatars were still lit up. Ollie, new member here. She's great at close combat and has sharp skills. Green Spirit. Hi everyone. I'm Green Spirit. Just returned to the game recently. The guild channel fell silent for a moment, then exploded. Holy shit. Limited edition outfit. Wait. Hold on. Her. The newbie you mentioned is actually a girl. Hey. Could it be that he's a bro like me? Playing a female character. Cross-dressing. Refers to male players who play female characters in games. Ollie. She's not. After an eerie silence. Ollie. Still playing. Even through the screen. I could feel his speechlessness. At the same time, I received several other friend requests. I stayed silent for a moment, then burst out laughing. These people are quite amusing. During monster fights, there's no time to type, so everyone just communicates directly in the voice chat room. Ollie sent me a room number in the chat box. Come in. I logged into the chat room and just happened to hear a clear, crisp voice say, "Stop fooling around. Green Spirit is here." That was the first time I heard the Playboy's voice. It was actually quite pleasant. I turned on my microphone. Of course, I had already adjusted the voice changer. Besides Ollie, others also enjoyed using voice changers. Lowly voices, mature female voices, young boy voices, cello tones. They never tired of using them in every dungeon run. So I often felt like there were many people in the guild, and it was very noisy. After getting familiar, they all called me Green Spirit, except for one guy named Bright Moon Shining Through the Scallions, who insisted on calling me Sister Spirit. I just assumed he had a girlfriend in real life and wasn't comfortable using overly affectionate nicknames for other girls. The days we spent grinding dungeons together were really enjoyable. However, they weren't obsessed with gaming. Instead, they focused on discovering game bugs, paid more attention to the gaming experience, and occasionally dropped some technical jargon. Grinding dungeons seemed to be just a way for them to relax and unwind. They approached it with a very laid-back attitude. That day, after several hours of battle, the moment the dungeon boss fell, several hidden achievements and a pile of orange and purple items clattered onto everyone's screens. Moonlight shines through the scallions. Stretched lazily. See. Wipe that grin off your face. It's blinding me. I'll release the macaque to bite you, said sarcastically. Oh my. Oh my. It's been ages since we've seen young master see this happy. Must be the thrill of the fight. Tiga gallops on horseback. Parroted. It's been ages since we've seen young master see this happy. Must be the thrill of the fight. Ollie sneered coldly. Get lost. I've been meaning to ask before. They seem to be good friends in real life. Occasionally, I'd even hear one person's words coming through the other's microphone. But since we're not that close, I never brought it up. Ollie said lightly. Just roommates. I exclaimed. Wow. You guys have such a good relationship. I'll set the macaque on you. Someone teased shamelessly. Nah. We're clearly in a father-son relationship, right? Sons. Everyone. Heh. The guys showed great chivalry by letting me pick the dropped game items first. I casually picked up a few, listening to them bicker using all sorts of voice modulations from the voice system, and thought to myself, I really don't understand men. So I couldn't figure out why Chindong, that scumbag, who clearly cheated and had poor character, still had such a great group of friends. Moreover, when he took charge, he was calm and decisive, playing the role of a central pillar. Feels quite disjointed. What about you, Ollie? Asked me. Are you working already? Or still in school? I just happened to be in the state of having finished my thesis and received an offer. Only, the workplace is abroad. It would be difficult to transfer back to the country. I shook my head, then remembered they couldn't see me. Just signed. They're not in a hurry for me to start, so I can still take a few more months off. Is it a job you like? Their voice was gentle, carrying a faint hint of laughter. I also laughed. Yes. Hiss. Moonlight shining through the scallions. Gasped in shock and whispered to the person next to them. Wait. Dude. Did you hear that? Did he just put on a fake voice? I'll set the macaque on you, said in a lowly voice. Solemnly. I heard it. He did. In the game. Dialogue bubbles continuously pop up above the characters' heads. Ultraman Tiga gallops on horseback. Mother, you never sang such lullabies to me when I was a child. I'll release the macaque to bite you. Mother, you never sang such lullabies to me when I was a child. Moonlight through the shallots. Mother, you never sang such lullabies to me when I was a child. Ollie. I froze for a few seconds before suddenly covering my face. It was burning hot. When the boss walked by, I silently moved my hands up to cover my head instead. She asked me, "What's up, babe?" I shook my head, because I suddenly realized something. Wasn't I here to get revenge on that scumbag? How did I end up having fun? I clutched my head, berating myself for forgetting my original aspirations and mission. When I saw Ollie start inviting people to spar, and one after another, they were knocked to the ground. During this time, I noticed that wasn't in the guild, and Ollie hadn't brought any other girls to run dungeons either. This won't do. He reminded me today that my time in the country is running out, and before I start my new job, I must nail that scumbag firmly to the pillar of shame. If you destroy my sister's wings, I'll tear down your heaven. Having decided to proceed with the next step, I took a deep breath and whispered to him, "By the way, do you have a girlfriend? If not, can we add each other on IG?" Two extremely suggestive lines. Advance to attack. Retreat to defend. It wouldn't come across as presumptuous. Just depends on whether he takes the bait. Ollie suddenly froze, and Moonlight through the scallions seized the opportunity to knock him down during their spar. Ollie remained silent for quite a while, just as I was wondering if the timing wasn't right yet. A string of numbers came through. No, my phone number, and my ID is the same. Let's keep in touch. At that moment, I couldn't quite describe the mixed feelings in my heart. I just smiled faintly and said, "All right. I've added you. Please accept the request." Damn it, asshole. The meticulously renovated green bubble finally came in handy after months of work. Leo's profile for me was a gentle, wealthy, highly educated beauty who loves gaming. The beauty in the photo has fair skin and a bright, radiant smile. At the second review meeting, the second sister confidently said, All those years I spent learning Photoshop weren't for nothing. And third sister's looks are naturally stunning. I waved my hand modestly. You flatter me. Mandy looked back and forth between them and burst into tears. We just thought she was being sentimental. The moment the green bubble appeared, all four of us held our breath. Hello. My name is Ollie. Ollie showed. Typing. For a long time. And finally sent a message. Have you had dinner yet? Unexpectedly innocent. The boss spat out a mouthful of water. Pfft. Laughed my head off. Folks. Wait. You're telling me this is a playboy? He's clearly just a little boy. Fake. It's definitely fake. He's pretending to be a little white rabbit to trick you. Even his name isn't real. Ollie's social media feed is very clean. Only sharing a few songs in recent months. With a profile picture showing a silhouette of a side profile watching the sunrise on a mountain. The visual focus of the photo is on the sunrise. The silhouette reveals a young man wearing a windbreaker, with a high nose bridge, thin lips, and a jawline sharper than my career plan. The second brother checked for a long time, then looked up in confusion. It's not a stock photo, and it's not photoshopped, she reluctantly admitted, even though it's just a silhouette. Based on my experience, this guy is actually quite handsome. The eldest brother was indignant. No wonder he can deceive young girls. It's because he's good-looking and has a pleasant voice. Third brother. You must not be fooled by him. I know. I have my own pace and won't be easily fooled by scumbags. Belatedly, I pressed down the corners of my upturned lips. Not yet. What did you eat? Give me some ideas. After getting his IG, I often shared bits of my daily life with him to build a connection. Sunny weather, oddly shaped white clouds, lunch meals, and the occasional sunset glimpsed when I looked up. Found out he's studying at F University. What a coincidence. Attending the same school as Marius. Discovered he's just a freshman, usually very busy with studies, and also starting a business with friends. You know those guys. It's the macaques and them. Yeah, right. They're doing market research. They have a lot of classes and many games to research. So I got hold of his account password and, thoughtfully, helped him with the daily tasks. I'm not that busy. If you're bored and want to run dungeons, just call me. By the way, I caught a rare foal the night before last. I'll give it to you once it's fully grown. I think about those guilds squatting all day to catch foals, and feel the word, catch, is still too light-hearted. I seem to have been bewitched. I feel like when I'm old, he could make me willingly buy health supplements. Realizing this, I was so frightened that I rushed into the bathroom to splash cold water on my face. But what I saw was Mandy clutching her phone in a panic, her face full of guilt. That night, as I scrolled through the chat history with Ollie, I let out a yawn. My hand slipped accidentally, hitting the voice call button. I was so startled that I jumped up from the bed, fumbling frantically to hang up the call. The call was answered immediately. The boy's light breathing traveled through the headphones into my eardrums. Green Spirit. What's wrong? I felt my heart skip a beat. I never told him my real name, always using my gaming ID. So he usually calls me Green Spirit. But at this moment, I had the illusion that he was whispering my childhood nickname, Iris, in my ear. Still shaken, I swallowed hard and forced composure. I pressed the wrong button by accident. Sorry for disturbing your rest. After a pause, he replied, It's fine. I'm just taking a walk outside alone. No disturbance at all. This is the first time I've heard your real voice. It's very pleasant. A thought crossed my mind. As expected of a playboy, daring to flirt with me. I underestimated him. Neither of us spoke again. Yet it didn't feel awkward. Time flowed in the silence. After a long while, I asked him, since we're already on the phone, do you want to listen to some music together? Okay. Nighttime is when people are most emotional. I've stalked his social media and know he likes Eason. I like him too, compared to the visual impact of beautiful photos. Winning hearts is also an essential part. I don't know if I'm subconsciously making excuses again. Holding my phone, I got out of bed to find 6 eyes staring at me. I pointed at my phone, and everyone understood. Putting down their phones or books and gathering quietly, I turned on the small speaker. I came to your city, walking the paths you once took. How I long to meet you again, to see how you've changed lately, to say to you, just one sentence. It's been so long. As the song ended, the sound system began to loop automatically. Amid the soothing music, I heard Ollie take a deep breath, his breathing growing heavier. Green spirit. His voice was very soft. Do you remember? I once told you that we were working on a game. I smiled. I remember. What about it? Any progress? Today, our game got its license. Outside the window, the leaves rustled in the night breeze. I can't quite tell how much sincerity and pretense are in my words. You guys are amazing. Thank you. The wind picked up on his end too, the sound of it rushing into my eardrums. There's something I've actually been thinking about for a long time. I want to tell you now. A sixth sense kicked in, and my heart suddenly gave an uncontrollable thump. I like you. His confession was lengthy, as if he was carefully explaining his feelings to me one by one. At first, I thought your gameplay was impressive, and your personality was great too. Occasionally, you'd come up with quirky, interesting ideas, like deliberately going to jail for a day trip, and you even wrote a tour guide script. Being with you was really fun. Later, I started looking forward to seeing you every day. I loved the little daily things you shared with me, and I found myself thinking of you in so many moments. When I walked alone with an umbrella in the snow, I'd suddenly remember how you built a snowman on Kunlun Mountain in the game. When eating at the cafeteria, I'd inexplicably order the stir-fried noodles you once said were terrible. And they really were. I'd wonder if your city had beautiful sunsets too, and then worry if reaching out to you out of the blue would bother you. By the time I snapped out of it, the sunset was already gone. The dormitory was quiet. I know you're about to start working, so even though I understand my own feelings, I would hesitate because I don't have enough resources. Until today, I've never been in a relationship before, and I don't know how to pursue a girl, so I wanted to first share my thoughts with you. I hope it hasn't caused you any trouble. You don't have to force yourself to respond. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you for listening this far. Perhaps the wind tonight has made my mind a bit unclear, which is why I've said so much. Sorry. The eldest and the second silently high-fived, their eyes burning as they looked at me. I took a deep breath. Thank you. I'll consider it carefully. The final step of the plan was to make him admit to cheating, publicly humiliate him, and then sell everything in his account. That was the original plan. I need to confess. Mandy suddenly burst into tears after I hung up the phone. I'm sorry, Iris. Sorry, everyone. This person isn't. I don't know how to explain this properly. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. Sobbing. There's a traitor among the people. Mandy had a moment of weakness for the scumbag just before giving me the account. So she gave me a wrong account number, differing from the scumbag's ID by just 1 digit. She said she wanted to warn me many times but didn't know how to bring it up. She got back together with that scumbag behind everyone's back. We've been together since freshman year of high school. A full 7 years. I loved him passionately. I know I shouldn't forgive him, but I can't let go. I just can't. The moment he got down on his knees, I was powerless. We'd already met each other's parents, settled the dowry and bride price, and were about to get our marriage license in a few days. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry to everyone. The eldest, being hot-tempered, ran out of the dorm immediately upon learning the truth. After a long silence, the second sibling rolled their eyes and gave me a look before going out to chase after someone. Who you like is your business. Just stick to doing what you think is right. But the one you should really apologize to is Iris. Mandy looked at me, opening her mouth. Iris. I turned around, climbed onto the bed, put on my headphones, and refused to communicate with her. Let me cool down for a bit. Then, will you still talk to me? I hesitated for a moment, then nodded and drew the bed curtain. Mixed feelings. On one hand, it's disheartening. She, Mandy, really knows how to hold it in. Since they can accept each other's infidelity, nothing others say will make a difference. Respect their fate. On the other hand, it's guilt. My intentions were never pure to begin with. I went to great lengths to get close to Ollie, spending nearly a year to make them confess their feelings to me first. After the surge of righteous indignation passes, reason finally rises to the surface. I considered retreating, especially on that night when I realized I actually had feelings for Ollie. I dreamed of Mandy pointing at me with tears streaming down her face, crying, and I woke up abruptly, my back drenched in cold sweat. So, I brainwashed myself with, he's a scumbag, thinking every day about how to get back at him. Looking back now, there were many details that left traces, proving he wasn't the same person as that scumbag. I almost hurt a very good person. I couldn't accept their affection with a clear conscience, nor could I righteously blame Mandy. I buried my head under the blanket, not knowing what to do. Mandy moved out of the dorm on the day we registered our marriage. The eldest and the second encouraged me, saying that even though it was a misunderstanding, if I had feelings, I should go meet them. I thought of Marius also being at F University and decided to keep this matter from him for now. On the morning of my arrival, as soon as I stepped out of the station, the guy standing under the street sign seemed to sense something and looked up. His hair was clearly well-groomed, and he was dressed in a clean, refreshing outfit, a dark blue striped shirt over a white t-shirt, wearing glasses, with a bag slung over one shoulder, and he gave a slight smile, bright and clean, like opening a mystery box. Neither of us knew what the other looked like, but it seems I've opened a really good one. We locked eyes across the crowd. Then, I stepped forward and walked toward him. I am Ollie. Hello. My name is Iris. This time, it was an introduction that had been delayed for nearly a year. We visited many places together. Though it was clearly our first meeting, it felt as if we had known each other for years. Having confirmed each other's feelings, we got together. Yet, the story ended abruptly, which had much to do with the hurdle in my heart that I couldn't get over. Graduation season is also known as the breakup season. The day before graduation, Ollie came to my school, wanting to surprise me. I invited him for a meal and decided to come clean with him. The first half of this relationship was full of deception. Iris had ulterior motives from the very beginning. Ollie, I'm going abroad and might not come back. No need to wait for me. Let go sooner. Ollie remained silent for a long time, then forced a smile and asked me, during all this, did you ever like me? Eyes slightly reddened. I averted my gaze and said softly, I'm sorry. His palm tightened slightly before he gently set down the flowers in his hand. I understand. Happy graduation. And may your future be bright. I sat frozen in the private room, then rushed to the window just in time to see his hurried figure disappear into the crowd, vanishing from sight. The next day, I attended the graduation ceremony with swollen eyes. Marius popped his head out from behind a bouquet of flowers. Sis. Surprise. Bet you didn't see this coming. He had traveled all the way from F University to be here. Seeing him made me think of Ollie again. So I cried and kicked Marius in the butt. Marius thought I was just reluctant to leave him when going abroad, dodging while comforting me. It's okay. It's okay. Hits are affection. Scolds are love. But nothing beats a good kick. Ouch. I hugged him tightly and burst into sobs. He patted my head helplessly. It's okay. It's okay. Later, I talked to the boss about it. The boss said I'm like a hedgehog. My first reaction to such things is to internalize the stress, then turn my spikes on others. I stay awkwardly twisted inside, yet secretly hope someone can see through my tangled state. The boss took a sip of wine and advised me to be more open-minded. Being conflicted isn't your fault. But truth is, not many can embrace a hedgehog. The premise of a hug is that the other person might feel pain, and could even be pierced until they bleed. I smiled and said, I know, but Ollie has pierced too deeply into my heart. I probably won't be able to love anyone else. At the end of July, I bid farewell to everyone and boarded a plane to Country M, heading toward an unknown future. Before passing through security, I still glanced back one last time. My family was waving at me, Marius making a funny face at me with reddened eyes. The memory ends here. Mandy cut off contact with us after getting married. I also Ollie lost touch with. After 5 years, I stood in front of the hotel, locking eyes with the suited-up Ollie. Before arriving at the wedding venue, I had already searched all the information online. 5 years ago, Starry Night was still a game studio founded by 4 college students, now renamed Focus Fire. The studio has become one of China's most influential internet gaming companies, with 3 of its developed games consistently ranking in the top 10 of revenue charts. I only knew Ollie's studio was called Starry Night, and I also knew Marius co-founded Focus Fire with a few friends, but I didn't realize they were originally the same. I felt a bit emotional, but there's still one more question. When we were dating, every time I went to F University to see Ollie, I avoided Marius. So when did he find out that Marius and I are siblings? And that green bubble message from last night? I took a step forward but was frozen in place by a voice. Iris. So this is where you've been. Eric got out of the car, his eyes lighting up. I was taken aback. What brings you to China? Eric shrugged. I'm here on a business trip. Didn't expect to run into you. The kind elderly man behind Eric smiled and nodded at me. Miss Iris. I'll head back first. I politely returned a smile. Turning around, Ollie had already disappeared at some point. I looked at him helplessly. Eric, when exactly are you planning to come clean with your family? You can't use me as your shield forever. Can you? Eric's gaze flickered, looking pitiful. Let's talk about that later. I'm starving. Have you eaten? Let me treat you to a meal. Hey, sis. You're here. What are you standing around for? Marius's loud voice came from behind. He ran up to me, but upon seeing Eric, his steps gradually slowed down as he looked at us with uncertainty. No way. Sis. Him. Marius's expression turned serious as he positioned himself between me and Eric, saying coldly, I don't agree. I tugged at him. It's not what you think. The appearance of Eric, with his foreign looks, driving a Bugatti, and accompanied by a butler, was too eye-catching. Under Marius's wary gaze, He was still invited in as a guest. We sat by the fountain. Marius stood not far away, glaring at us fiercely. Iris. There's nothing I can do. Eric shrugged, his orange curls swaying with the movement, a helpless smile in his light gray eyes. You know how stubborn my father is. When I first arrived in Country M, I was sexually harassed by a powerful superior. Once, he locked me in his office, and it was Eric who noticed in time. Later, that person was transferred away from headquarters due to misconduct, and Eric and I became good friends. Eric's father is a congressman. His mother is from China, and he also has ancestry from Country Y. However, the person he loves is also a man. Their president is a strong opponent of LGBT rights. So in his family, this is absolutely not allowed to happen. At his request, I had no choice but to attend his family banquet and company ball to help dispel his parents' doubts. His parents liked me very much. After several times, I began to doubt the authenticity of the lover he mentioned. Wouldn't that person feel sad? Eric was momentarily taken aback, then smiled. Iris, you're such a kind girl. He wouldn't. He's a very good person. I stubbornly insisted, but I've never met him. Eric looked at Ollie approaching the fountain and stood up. All right then. 3 months from now, before I return to M Country, I'll arrange for you two to meet. I froze. So, the person headquarters sent to assist me with my work was him. Pleasure to see you again. But it seems your family has something to discuss with you. Eric smiled at me, his eyes crinkling with mischief. I rolled my eyes at him. You really are suited to playing the fox. Who knows which of your words are true and which are false? I looked at Ollie and then at Marius beside him, whose eyes were fierce and guarded. Eric kissed her hand and winked, saying, "Thank you for the compliment. But I think those two across from us are just as impressive." Marius pulled me away to wash our hands. "Sis, I don't like that flame orange curly hair." Marius mimicked him sarcastically. "You are such a gentle girl. Sharp ears." I laughed and punched him. "That's my colleague. Don't go giving people random nicknames. And also, this statement is a fact." "Thank you." The sound of flowing water splashed. "In that case, it would be better to." Marius mumbled something with his head hanging low. "Me? What are you talking about?" Marius looked up. "I'm afraid you'll run away with him and never come back." "Me?" He stopped in his tracks. "Sis, do you know what I saw today?" I saw the bride's brother crying his eyes out. And at that moment I thought, it would be fine if you never got married in your life. Our family isn't the traditional type that insists on carrying on the family line. Anyway, your brother here has money. I could support you for several lifetimes without any problem. When that flame orange curly-haired guy appeared, I suddenly felt terrified. I was afraid you'd run off to Country M with him, and it would be so hard for me to see you again. If he bullied you in the morning, I'd have to endure a 30-hour flight just to slap him. But then I thought, what if you like him? At the very least, he'd have to marry into our family. I thought about so much. I was distracted all night. It suddenly hit me. How did that little bean sprout who used to follow me around grow so much taller than me? Growing up, our parents were often not at home. Marius was practically raised by me. I smiled and patted his head. Don't worry. We're just friends. There are some things I can't explain, but there's no way between us. Marius visibly brightened up, then frowned after a while. Sis, did you just wipe your hands on my hair? I averted my eyes. Aren't you the best man? Shouldn't you be helping the groom? It's not my turn yet, Marius said. Don't worry. I came out after telling off Fong. What about Ollie? I haven't forgotten. Marius pulled me away first. Ollie ended up staying behind. Marius's expression froze for a moment. He averted his gaze. What could possibly be wrong with him? Sis. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten a bite all day. Are you hungry? Let me take you out to eat. I sighed helplessly. All right. Back at the banquet table, the groom was only halfway through his toast. After the wedding toast, Marius pressed me into my seat, took a couple of bites, and then went up to help. I was enjoying the delicious dishes on the table, chatting with others from time to time, when after a while, someone sat down beside me. Holy shit. My ex-boyfriend. My chopsticks paused for a moment, and I quickly buried my head in eating. Food comes first. Food comes first. Actually, I wanted to run away. But after eating Western food for so long, facing this table full of dishes, I really couldn't resist. They say the meal budget was 12,000. So delicious. An abalone appeared in the bowl. I glanced sideways at him. Ollie met my gaze for a moment before starting to eat from his own bowl. I timidly finished mine, and then he picked up a shrimp and placed it in my bowl. It was as if he was feeding me, and he never seemed to tire of it. That's enough. I can't eat anymore. I kicked him under the table in dissatisfaction. Ollie didn't look at me, but his lips curled slightly. Marius was brought back drunk. Ollie went to take his place. I whispered, "You're not good with alcohol. Drink less." In the noisy hall, Ollie paused mid-step. He turned back, giving me a deep look. "What did you say?" I didn't catch that. Marius drowsily held my hand. "Sis, don't go with him." Ollie was still watching me. I rolled my eyes at Ollie, turned my head to give Marius some water, and said, "I think you're going deaf." It was already past 2 a.m. By the time we finished, two drunkards, one slumped in the passenger seat, the other sprawled in the back, completely out of it. I couldn't take it anymore and rolled down the window for some fresh air. Damn it. I still have to drop the car off for a wash on my way to work tomorrow. After parking the car outside the villa, I finally managed to help Marius into his room, rubbing my sore arms. I remembered there was still one more in the car. Opening the passenger door, Ollie was lying on the reclined passenger seat, squinting his eyes. I raised my hand and waved it in front of him. He stood there dazed, unresponsive. I didn't expect you to drink more than Marius, yet remain more sober than him. I sighed in relief and reached out my hand to him. As long as you're not asleep, that's good. I don't know where you live, so you can stay at my place tonight. He reached out his hand to me, and just as I was about to exert force, I was pulled down onto him, my face buried in his chest. I could hear his heartbeat steady and strong. I tried to get up, but his palm held my waist tightly, refusing to let go. "Ollie, let go." I hit him. No. How is there still elasticity? But the force around my waist grew tighter and tighter, until I could hardly move. Iris. I heard the murmur in his throat. It was my name. I really wanted to see you. My hair fell across his face, and in those beautiful eyes, I saw myself. The strength around my waist gradually loosened, and something warm fell from the corner of his eye. He closed his eyes, though he tried to suppress it. A slight tremble still crept into his voice. I really wanted to see you. I pressed my hand against his chest and gazed at him for a long time. Then, closing my eyes, I leaned in and kissed him softly. I'm back. The world seemed to tilt in an instant as I crossed my arms above my head, only for him to grasp them with a single hand. His kiss was fierce. All right. So that's why the seat was reclined. Using the bitter flesh, tactic combined with the handsome man, strategy on me. Ha! You've been plotting this for a long time, haven't you? Go back to your own home when you're awake. I pushed him away with a cold expression. I have work tomorrow. No time to take care of a drunk. And here I thought he was really wasted. Then one more kiss. He mumbled, discontentedly nibbling my lower lip, grinding lightly. Then he repeated his old trick. Me, late at night, with the villa located in the suburbs. It was impossible to hail a taxi. Walking along the cobblestone path, I thought recklessly, why not just leave him in the car to sleep overnight? You're trying to leave me behind again. Ollie seemed to see through my thoughts and calmly accused me. You're mean. I turned to look at him and said helplessly, then why won't you let go of my hand? The grip on my hand tightened slightly. My girlfriend. Why can't I hold her hand? My face grew warm as I fumbled with the keys to open the door. Who said I'm your girlfriend? I haven't agreed to get back together yet. A hand with distinct knuckles pressed against the door. Ollie asked leisurely, deliberately provoking me. Oh, if we're not back together, then why did you kiss me? Me? I shifted the blame. You tempted me. I just made a mistake any woman would make. What's the big deal? He loosened his tie, the warmth of his breath making the tip of my ear tingle slightly. Then if I seduce you a few more times, will you agree to get back together with me? I averted my gaze and pushed open the door. Depends on my mood. He chuckled softly. Then I'll wait. His smile was too bewitching. 5 years have passed, and the boy who used to wear a blue-striped shirt and blush easily has now become the CEO of an internet company, dressed in a suit and tie. I didn't turn on the light, nor did I close the door. Under the faint moonlight, his shadow completely enveloped me. Ollie slowly bent down. I stood on tiptoe and closed my eyes. Marius's snoring was deafening. Slap. I woke up as if from a dream, pushed his head away, and ran upstairs quickly. I'm going to sleep. Ollie stood there in a daze for a while, then covered his forehead and smiled. Good night. I closed